So I did my presentation on King Yongjo, and he was born in 1694. His father was the king. He was King Seokjong, but his mother was a concubine, and he was the second son of King Seokjong. And because of that, oh, here's his mother. Her name was Cho Seok-bin. She was also known as Royal Noble Consort Seok of the Haeju Cho clan. She was Youngjo's mother. She was born into the Chomen's class. This is one of the lowest classes at the time. But she became, I guess, the chosen Cinderella, and she managed to rise up through the ranks. And then his Youngjo's older brother was Yongjo. They were stepbrothers, and Yongjong's mother was Lady Jang right here. And then, since he was the oldest son, he was the prince and the crown prince. And then after the death of King Seokjong, actually right before he died, he told Yongjong that he should name his little brother as the crown prince. And so after Seokjong passed away, he did that. And Yongjong didn't rule for very long, and he named Yongjo the crown prince in 1720, just about 2 months after he took the throne. And yeah, he didn't reign very long as he fell ill, and he passed away. And the bureaucrats at the time, they thought he was poisoned, and they blamed the opposing faction, Yongjo and Lady Jang, his mother. But modern historians say that it was probably caused by eating bad seafood.
That's a bit of gnarly seafood.
I know. Yeah, then when he was ill, he was officially named as the crown prince, that he would take over. Ignore the first line. That's wrong. And so when he was the crown prince, the Sauron, they were the faction that supported Yongjong. They actually tried to assassinate him, and they used the pretense that they were hunting for a white fox that was haunting the palace. But he managed to escape. He fled to the palace of Queen Dowager Inwan, and she managed to protect him until they wouldn't kill him. And he was supported by at the time by the Noron, who actually did call for his older brother to step down, but he wouldn't do it. During his reign, he was almost like a father for the people. He always looked out. He was known for just roaming the streets and asking people about their problems. And so sometimes people would say, "Oh, I'm not doing very well this year. There was a bad storm." And then he'd say that person, "Okay, this year, I'll just talk to some people, and this year you won't pay tax. You won't pay tax." In other times, he'd use that, and he may find out that another bureaucrat was maybe kind of making this guy's life hard, and so he'd make sure that bureaucrat wouldn't do that anymore. And he instituted the Taengpyeong policy. So when he took the throne, there was a lot of factions going on. The Sauron and Loron were basically just trying to kill each other, and it was really difficult to get anything done at all. And so he made this policy to try to either end it or just make it manageable. He was a pretty big Confucian scholar. He went to the royal lectures almost every week, hardly ever canceled. And then his son was Prince Sado, which I'll go into later. So it's the Taengpyeong policy. So Taengpyeong translates to magnificent harmony. And basically the goal was to reduce Roman factionalism. And it never really brought true equality, but it wasn't really designed to either. It was he just wanted to make it so something could get done. And the picture on the right is Taengpyeongchae. It's a Korean dish. It's a mixture of 4 different foods, and he used it at a feast with all the 4 factions. and he just said like these foods are all four. They're all like completely different, but when they're together, it's really good. And so you guys should work together. And then he was having a hard. He had a really hard time with the policy because no one supported him. But then Cho Cho came back from China, and he really supported Yongjo with the tank gun policy, and just because he believed that the downfall of the Ming was because of factionalism, and he didn't want Korea to end like that. And yeah, he was a father ruler. He would wander the streets, and as he got older, he always wanted to celebrate with the people, but the servants would never let him do that because the palace was sacred, I guess. But since they always rejected him from having parties, he just sent out gifts. And usually, what he would do, he'd get a list of all the elderly in Seoul, and then he'd send them gifts. And it'd be like meat and snacks, that type of stuff. And there are a few famines, one of which almost resulted in rebellion. And he responded by eating a lot less and of less variety. Just let the people that he knows that there's a famine going on, and he's just not getting fat. He was a Confucian scholar. He went all the time. His dream was to be a sage king, and he wanted the same for his son as well. And then there's Prince Sado. He was separated from his parents at a really young age, probably too early, and he was pushed by his father to be a scholar and just be like a sage, like Yongjo was. But Yongjo always criticized him really heavily. You know, like he would do the smallest things, and he would just get torn up for it. And then, but then he was still a little boy, and so he wanted to play. And so some of the other servants in the palace, they started to play war games with him to ease his stress. And Yongjo didn't find out about it for a while, but when he found out about it, he dismissed some of the servants. And eventually, his frustrations got really bad as an adult, and he started to kill and rape servants and eunuchs. And eventually, Yongjo was encouraged by the leaders to put an end to Sado. So Yongjo just one day he just grabbed the sword and just ran to the palace where Sado was living, and he commanded Sado to kill himself, but he refused. And then after a lot of drama, Yongjo left Sado, and I guess Yongjo demanded Sado go into the rice chest, which he did, where he later starved to death. And Sado's son Yongjo was named the crown prince, and he later became king. Does anyone have any questions?
No, Sado.
Sado?
No, Sado.
Okay.